Thanks for being here. In behalf of ARCR, we really appreciate that you took the time to assist to this seminar that we arrange mostly every month. And I hope that the information that you receive today and tomorrow is going to be helpful for you to be able to decide if Costa Rica is the place that you think it is and the place that you want it to be. So today I'm going to start, and I have two phases today. One is Costa Rican legal system, and the next one, after we finish with this, is going to be about residency. All right? Requirements, documents, how to do it, and all of those things that are going to be important in the event that you decide that you want to make Costa Rica your hub. Okay? So let's start by talking a little bit about the Costa Rican legal system. And it's really a little glimpse about it because I'm not going to give you a master class about history. It's just for you to understand a little bit about the culture and the way that we structured our legal system and why we did it that way. Okay? Feel free to ask if you want to make any questions. The first thing that you have to know is that we structure our system in the Mexican system, which was structured in the Spanish system, which was structured in the thinkers of the 18th century from Germany. One of these thinkers about society and how the structure of society should be is this guy, Mr. Kelsen. Okay? Mr. Kelsen thought of the idea of the structure for a government in the form of a pyramid. All right? So the pyramid, basically what it says is that the most important part of the pyramid is on the top, the lesser important part and the most common part is at the bottom. All right? So the rules that are linked with regulations should be at the bottom, and the political constitution, which is the main law of the land, should be at the top. This meaning that anything that we do here, if it goes against the political constitution, it cannot happen. All right? Any decree that the central government issues against the political constitution will be eliminated because it will be against the political constitution. We have ways and means to do that. So it cannot go against what the basic rules of the land, that are the political constitution, would say. Same thing with international treaties. If something that we agree upon with other states is not in agreement with the political constitution, then it will not apply. That is the first, general idea of how the structure of the government was basically set up in the 18th, 19th century. All right? The political constitution that we have today was issued in 1948. After a little bit of let's say a revolution, okay? But revolution terms, in the general idea of the people of the world, will be a big massacre with big armies fighting. Well, like the American Revolution that took years and years to resolve. This one took 3 months. Okay? We're a small country, we do little wars. So this is the situation. In 1944, the government in power started issuing certain amount of rules and regulations that some part of the population were not in agreement with. Okay? So when it became time to do the general election in 1948, the government was afraid they were going to lose the election. So they did a little bit of a trick and made themselves the winners of the election. All right? At that point, this gentleman, he was a radio host. He had a radio station, and he had a little bit of maybe a time speaking against the government and against the ways of the government. But at that point, when that happened, he really went at it, all right? He really basically tried to expose the scam and the illegal voting that happened and the purchase of votes by the government. And at that point, the government didn't like him either, so they closed his radio station. When they closed his radio station, he had no other choice but to basically take arms, and with a group of other people that thought like him and were trying to fix the situations that the government that were in power were creating, took arms and went into the jungle and started a revolution. All right. At that point, most of the country was against what the government was doing. So it was very easy for this army to move from the jungle to each one of the little cities that they were after and claiming for the army. For, to not make this story very long, after 3 or 4 months, he was in the House of Government, sitting in the desk of the president. All right, they had agreed. They made an agreement. The people that were in power just left the country, and then he was able to take the capital, San Jose, without fighting anything or having to kill anybody else or having to fight for it. Okay, so he just came into San Jose like the victor, the big parade, and this is the victor, and now he is going to be our leader. Well, he said, okay, we did this, but I'm not going to keep this leader thing. I'm going to make a board of old elders, let's call it like that, which are going to be 12 people, and we're going to fix this thing. Okay, we're going to make a new government. We're going to take power of the country for 18 months, create a new constitution, which is the one that I'm telling you about from 1949. The basis of it is the one from 1872, but it with little changes that basically made Costa Rica what it is at the point where we have it today in 2024. Okay? Once his 18 months were over, he handed power to the guy that was really the winner of the elections, and things kept going the same way every 4 years, getting a new president as of the day of today that we have the president that we have today. The basic things that he and the 12 guys that thought about how to change and fix the country included in the new constitution were those four. First of all, the Supreme Electoral Tribunal, which then eliminated the possibility of the governments in power of touching the elections. This is an institution that is totally separate from government, totally separately funded, separately managed, separately everything, in order for the governments in power not to be able to take any type of action against their rivals or within the election itself. All right, so that is one of the institutions in Costa Rica that the Costa Ricans most believe in. If the TSE says that the elections were won by one vote, everybody will go home nice and quietly because the election is over and that guy won by one vote. All right? We really believe on those institutions that were created then. All right. That guarantees the elections were going to be clean for the rest of the time that the country exists. Public universities, that is a great creation of this assembly because it allowed young, poor people with a lot of intellectual capabilities to go and get an education that they were not going to be able to afford. Public universities are very let's call it that. It's not cheap because the university is not cheap. It's very low maintenance. They don't charge you a lot to be in it, and they give you a very good education. Most of the engineers, doctors, lawyers like myself come out of the public university system. The tuitions and the amounts of money that you have to pay for are basically ridiculous if you try to compare them with the United States. How many people do we have today from Canada? None? Okay. So I will only speak in terms of the Americans. Sometimes we have people from Canada. Okay. Public universities allowed that to happen. So many of the graduates that I was telling you about allowed the country to get a better social status and a better education status since 1949. Going to a public university might cost you, if you don't have any type of subsidized, because the government also subsidizes the guys that are intelligent and have no money at all. If you have no mean of subsidy because you have enough money, like you come from a good family, you might end up paying $600, $700 every semester. That's how inexpensive it is. All right, and the education is top class. Universities, the University of Costa Rica is the best university in Central America and one of the best universities in Latin America. And we have in that system the public universities, four universities: the University of Costa Rica, the National University, the Technological Institute, which where they graduate engineers, and we have one that we didn't even know that we were going to have a pandemic, but it was operating very a long time before even the pandemic was an issue. That is the university at a distance. You picked up your materials, you studied at home, and then you came back just to do the tests. Now it's all by computer and by intelligent speeches that the teachers leave for the alums when they are going to assist this university of at a distance. But it used to be everything with paper. Now everything changed just to uh, technology. But you don't have to assist to the university. You just have to take the tests, and now you can do it online, and it's incredible. Next institution, Costa Rican Social Security Administration. That institution is the one that administrates health, hospitals, and pension funds. All right? So in Costa Rica, nobody has the need to withhold of themselves from assisting to a hospital because they're not going to have enough money to pay for the bill. Any Costa Rican can get medical attention without worrying about the amount of money they're going to pay for medicines, for doctors, for operations, for tests. Although the system is socialized because everybody has to chip into the system no matter who you are or if you're going to use it or not. You pay a monthly fee. It guarantees that anybody, even the poorest people, will be able to get the best medical attention. So the Caja, as we call it, Caja, CCSS, guarantees to everybody medicines, health health services, guarantees a pension, maybe not a very big pension, but a pension at the end of your work life, and it allows you to have all your medicines taken care of. You don't have to pay for any medicine, and also will never stop giving you service because of pre-existing condition. So whatever you have, whenever you start enrolling into the Caja, they're going to start working with you if you have an illness, because they're not going to take that as a non-service situation. They'll service anybody and everybody. And the labor code. The labor code establishes the minimum rules in which employer and employee were going to work together. 8 hours a day, not more than 48 hours a week. Minors cannot work. Women that are pregnant will get 1 month before and 3 months after the delivery of the child as compensation. They don't have to work for that period of time. The unions are encouraged. Many of the things that you will call and you will feel that are very normal at that point in time were not here. So that basically guaranteed that whomever was going to start working in Costa Rica had a minimum set of laws and regulations that guaranteed that the employer was not going to take advantage of them. And that is up to today one of the very strong pillars of this society, the labor code. Structure of power and separation of powers. It's basically the same as you remember in the United States. We have an executive branch of power, which is led right now by this guy. He's our president. He's 2 years into his term. He'll have a term of 4 years, and then there will be general election. He can be re-elected, but he has to sit one term. He cannot be re-elected consecutively. He has to be re-elected. He can be re-elected for one more term, but he has to wait one term to be able to present his name again. This is the legislative branch, in which we only have one chamber. The United States has a Congress and has the Senate. We only have Congress. There's 57 congressmen or representatives. that are prorated based on the population of the country and the area they represent. We only have this one chamber, so in order to pass a law, to be law of the republic, the Congress people vote them, and if it passes the first vote, then they wait a week and they vote it again. And then we have two votes that will send the document to the president's desk for his signature. That's the way we operate, and we save a lot of money. The ombudsman is the representative for the minorities, okay? If there's a minority that has no way to basically lobby or fight an institution of government that is doing them harm without any explanation, then this section of government, which is totally also separate from the central government, elected by Congress and budgeted by Congress, will be the one in charge of fixing or trying to fix with their tools the situation that the minorities encounter. An example, a very low-income community cannot get water. The water company doesn't want to go in there and put the water meters. This guy will go to court for them and have the water company go and install the meters. And such, like LGBT communities, minorities of native Costa Rican people, things like that is the things that he will be resolving and he will be looking into so that the minorities don't get I'm sorry, so that the minorities don't feel that they are left behind with no resources, okay? Judicial branch, very similar to the United States. We have constitutional courts, we have transit courts, we have labor courts, we have civil courts, criminal courts. You call your higher court, you call them justices, okay? We call them magistrates. Yours are 9, we have 22. But the 22 we divide into 4 chambers. One is jurisdictional and administrative matters. The other one is family law and state. The third one is criminal matters. And the fourth one is the constitutional chamber. So they work divided into those 4 chambers. And only when there is such a big, important case that it requires the 22 of them, then they gather to do a hearing that way. This is our little Costa Rica. Costa Rica's government is subdivided into, for geographical purposes, basically, first of all, into 7 provinces, okay? The 7 provinces really are just for geographical purposes. As you can see them, there's San Jose, Cartago, Punta Arenas is this long one, Limón, Alajuela, Heredia, and Guanacaste, okay? But the important thing you need to know about that is that it's also subdivided into municipal governments, okay? The municipal government is the one that is going to keep the lights on in your house, that is going to clean your parks, that is going to fix your roads, that is going to provide you police services, that is going to collect your property tax, that is going to collect your garbage collection tax, that is going to have a recycling program or not. So that institution, there's 82 of them all over the country. As you know, in any human activity, some of them are very good, some of them are not very good. So if you're planning to buy a property in any area of Costa Rica, my advice is always talk to the neighbors and see how many times a week they get their garbage collected. Look at the parks and see if they're in good shape. See the roads and see if the municipal roads are passable at least. And find out what many other possible services that municipality specifically will provide you, just to be sure that where you're going to be is a place that you're going to find satisfactory. All right? That is something that also your real estate agent can help you with. The National Registry System. Okay. This is a question I always make and everybody gets it wrong. For a property to be yours, you need a piece of paper with a title, right? Right? No. For a property to be yours in Costa Rica, you need a registration in a computer system. Okay? So if your name is not in the registral system, which you can access from this address, that is not your house, that is not your car, or your vote, or your corporation, or your trademark, or whatever it is that it's an item of inscription in Costa Rica. Our system works based on registration and not based on titles. Okay, so when you're going to purchase a property, and I'm going to use anybody of you, well, let's say you, man, you're going to sell the property to him. Okay, so what is going to happen? This is going to happen. He is going to hire a notary public, which is a totally different figure than the one that you remember back home. Here, they're in charge of operating that system. They have insurance in order to cover the damages that they cause in the event that they don't do a good job. And that they are the only ones that can sign and activate the system to move one property from one person to another. They collect the taxes to do that. They pay it to the government. And they have we have very many, I am a notary public. We have many restrictions and many government supervision in order to do a good job. So he's going to find a notary public. That notary public, he's going to tell him, I found the love of my life in properties, I want to buy it. It's this one. And this is the number of the property. All right? So the notary that he hires is going to take that number and go back to the registral system and do a title search, but an electronic title search. See where the property is located, see if it has any liens, mortgages, problems, who are the neighbors, where is the plot plan, everything, and it's to see if everything fits with what he is describing. Then he's going to find out who the owner is, and he's going to look into your name and see if you're really you, where do you come from, what is your ID number, when did you purchase this property, if you were married or not married, if you're single, all of that information he's going to gather. Once he is satisfied that everything is in order for a transfer to happen, then you're going to sit with the notary public and write a deed of transfer in his book of protocol. He's going to take those documents signed in original by you guys, and he's going to send to the registry electronically a copy of that with his signature saying, please transfer this property from this person to the next one, and here's the money that is supposed to be paid. And that's how the system operates here. Operates that way with properties, with real estate, operates that way with corporations, operates that way with votes, with motorcycles, with cars, with trademarks. Anything that is registrable will have a space in this registral system. It's very efficient, very tight in security. There has been many attempts to break it, but it's still active and it's still working, and we all rely on it. So it's a little different. Another thing that is different is that the plate number, in the event of vehicles, the plate number is the number that the registry is going to use to identify that item. So the plate number will always stay with the vehicle, even if you sell it 10 times. It's not your plate number, it's the vehicle's plate number, and it stays with it. So when you sell the vehicle, the plate number goes with it. Many people like to put personalized plate numbers. That makes no sense here because when you sell it, it's going to go with the vehicle. You cannot take them off and put them in the next car. You just use the random one that they give you. They offer you the service, they charge you for it, but when you sell it, it goes with the car. All right? See, these guys, notary publics. Every notary public in the country is an attorney. Not every attorney in the country is a notary public. Because you have to take 2 more years of courses, and you have to practice 2 years with a notary public that is officially a notary public in order to get your title as a notary public. So it's going to law school, graduating, doing 2 more years, doing 2 years of practice, and then graduating as a notary public. All right? It's a little complicated. So many attorneys just decide not to do it and just keep on litigating only and not involving themselves in this. There's many types of notary publics, as in anything in any society. You can find very good ones, you can find very messy ones, you can find very bad ones. Okay? There's a website that you will be able to access that is dnn.gov.cr that will allow you to access and find out if the person that you're talking to is really a notary public and how his behavior has been during the years. Any person that you're going to hire as a notary is in the obligation to provide you his ID number as a notary so that you can check it before you even hire him. Same thing happens with the attorneys. We all have an ID number for that. And in the website of the board of attorneys, you can check out the activity and see if that person is active for business, if it has been suspended, if how many faults that they have, if he has an issue happening pending of resolution, things like that. You can find out in this website. As I was mentioning, only attorneys can be notary publics. And the notary public that you remember in the States, yes, we do that too. Signatures and stuff like that. These are the sources of the information. And this is the Bar Association logo for the Board of Attorneys. And this is just a little bit of a joke that I like to do at the end of this part of my speech. Okay? Do not do anything you would not do in your hometown. Okay? We are very similar cultures. We have our little differences. I think our cuisine is better. But we have many, many similarities, all right? So most of the time, I would say 99% of the time, what's wrong in the United States is wrong here. All right? So keep it within the terms of what you understand is good, and you'll be okay. It's best not to try the do-it-yourself method. Why? Because, first of all, there's many things that will be complicated in Costa Rica and done in a different way that they are done in the United States because of the tropicalization of issues, and vehicles are different, properties are built different, pipes are worked in a different way, and there's many things that are different from what you remember. And if you say, well, I'm going to ask my neighbor, he's a tico, he might know. Okay? Yes, he is going to say, sure, I will help you fix your fence or do your yard or whatever it is. Because we ticos have a tendency. We feel that it's not polite to say no, even if we have no idea what we're doing. Okay? Many times you're going to find that happening to you. You're fixing a car, you talk to the neighbor and says, hey, can you help me fix the car? Sure, I can help you fix your car. No problem. He has no idea whatsoever of what the car is. But he's there with you. Okay? And he might do a doo-doo or do a problem in the vehicle that you don't want. So remember that about ticos. We're nice people. We always are going to, if somebody needs help, we're going to try to help them, even if we have the slightest idea of what he needs help with. All right? Do not rush into the decision of hiring an attorney. That is important. In Costa Rica, you need certain professionals in order to have the mind stability that you're doing things right. You need an attorney, you need a public accountant, and you need a doctor. Okay? You have to find those three people that you feel comfortable with in order to have a organized and problem-free life in Costa Rica. The attorney is going to take care of your legal problems, the public accountant about your taxes and stuff, and the medic, it's obvious, all right? Consider legal fees as your insurance premium because that's what they really are. Yeah, some people like to skip us attorneys and give advice like if they were attorneys. And most of the time they get it wrong. Costa Rica used to be very simple and very easy to operate. That's not the case anymore. Costa Rica is not a simple place to operate, not a simple place to open a business, not a simple place to purchase a house, not a simple place to buy and put in the road a vehicle. It's not easy. There's many little tiny things, T's and I's that you have to cross that you will not be able to get through fast enough and efficiently enough if you don't hire somebody that is a professional in that area. Same thing like with attorneys. Many attorneys in the little towns that you might be going to because you like, I'm sure you are going to like better to be in a little town than down here in the city, are going to tell you that they're general practitioners, but they can do a criminal case, and they can do your immigration stuff, and they can do your labor case. That's not true. find a professional that specializes in immigration, that specializes in criminal law, that specializes in labor law, because the general attorney, he's a good guy, but that's one of the reasons he is not in the city, okay? Because maybe he couldn't make it here and he went out there to see if that was a possibility for him. Let's see, what else? See, oh, I didn't even know it was the next one. Would a general practice attorney do the job, or do I need a specialist? We got that clear now. Do not buy real estate only following the real estate broker's advice. Okay? Real estate brokers in the United States it's a very serious position. They're organized, they have a bar, they have an exam in order to be able to become a broker. In Costa Rica, there's nothing like that. So many of expats who have come here and really don't have a lot to do but to be there in the beach and enjoy life, have thought of the idea of making some money on the side, becoming a broker, because there's no requirements. So some of them say they are brokers, they don't specialize in it, they don't have a curriculum, they don't do it, they have not done it in the States, they are doing it here because it's free and there's no obligations, but are not going to be a professional you can rely on. To the seminar here, we normally bring people that we understand are in exactly what you remember in the States of a professional on that area. Like for attorneys, it's my case that I have to come and explain these things to you. For broker and real estate, we have Mr. Iwo here because he has 25 years experience, and he has been, his record is flawless. He serves the community for more than, 25 people, 30 years? 35. Well, I don't even remember. He's very old. He's very old. But he's been efficient, he's been active, he takes care of his clients. So that's the type of people you have to find. All right? There is that type of people. There is the type of doctor, there is that type of attorney, there is that type of accountant that will take care of you. Do not blindly trust your own countrymen. Many problems that are generated for expats are generated by the other expats. Okay? Many problems. Most of the problems that expats have relate to a business they did with an expat that was here from before and that was trying to take advantage of them or trying to, take away things that they should not be doing. So be careful. Not everybody with a perfect English is a very good character. Do not marry the first beautiful tica or tico that you meet. Believe it or not, that happens. Believe it or not, I have clients that have just arrived in country, put their feet in the ground. 2 weeks after, they're in my office with a nice young lady, 20 or 30 years younger than them, that they want to marry. Okay? That is not true. They're after your Social Security, they're after your benefits, minimum thereafter is a pass to a green card in the United States. So be careful. And it applies for both sexes, women and men. Old MacDonald had a farm, he lost it because he never took care of it. And I'll explain that a little bit. In the city, you can buy a flat, you can buy an apartment, you can buy a house, you can buy whatever you want, a real estate. And just leave it unattended for 5, 6, 7 years, and when you come back, it'll still be there. In the rural areas, where there's a lot of cows, chickens, and ducks, and a lot of farms, if you buy a farm in a little town, everybody's going to know that the gringo bought a farm in that little town, okay? And you just walk away and leave for a couple of years because you're still working in the States in order to be able to make it to come back to the farm. If nobody shows for a couple of years and somebody in the community has cows and they're out of grass and your grass is growing very high, well, why don't we just put the cows in this guy's property? Anyway, I don't think it matters because he's not even here. And they put the cows, and then they put the chickens, and then they put the pigs. And then when you come back, it's a community property. Not out of bad intention, but out of usage of the land. Somebody's using it because you were not. And I don't think you want to go through that. Easy problem solving is to pay somebody from the community a couple of bucks a month just to tell them, you fix my fences, you cut my grass, and you tell everybody in town that the gringo is not dead and he's coming back. Okay? So that keeps them away, and you'll be okay. Easy comes, easy goes. If it sounds too good to be true, it probably is. There's no more properties, beachfront, that are $5,000. That is gone. There's no deals like you have to do today because if you don't do them today, they're gone. That doesn't happen. There's no seller that is leaving the country and is going to leave his beautiful house in your hands and it's not going to charge you anything. That doesn't happen, okay? Don't get involved in situations like that, all right?